Hey, and welcome to iHeart Intellectual Radio, Black Conservative Radio. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, aka The Dark Knight, here in the city of Gotham. And I like one of the beauty parts about doing this show is the interesting stories that we're getting into, and not only that, but um the fact of the matter that I'm a huge Batman fan, huge Batman fan, and I like the terminology Dark Knight. It was something that was said to me, and it's not so much I took offense to it. Truth be told, I really didn't give a shit what they had and how they felt about it. But that's shit. But you have to understand the persona of of Batman, aka the Dark Knight, the Cape Crusader, because understand something, he protects in the most unconventional ways. Even though he's a fictional character, but sometimes some of us we some of us sometimes in our own lives we take on that persona because we are in a good position to make changes, to do some good. And sometimes and people say this is the dim end, and I say the dim bulbs of the world that continue to live in this sometimes. And I don't care what you say, because it's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to do something and make a decision, and you're going to have to, in order for something to happen or to get something done, there's a movie called The Kingdom of Heaven. And in that movie, there's a part to where one of the characters, his name is Balian, and he's at odds with one of the other knights that is in line for the kingship. Okay, so the king at the time came. The king summoned him along with his council, and they asked him to step up, basically to step up. They asked him to the king asked him to if he would marry his daughter, because see, if he I mean I'm sorry, not marry his daughter. The king asked him if he would marry his sister. And subsequently, if Balian had have married the king's sister, when the king passed on, the king died, then Balian would become king. So, and asking that question, and in return, Balian asked the question of, well, what's going, and the guy he was at odds with, his name was Guy de Lucion. Okay, Guy de Lucion. And when he asked him, well, what's going to happen to him if I marry your sister? The king's council said, well, he will be arrested and executed for basically what that time would be called war crimes. So, in turn, excuse me, in turn, Balian stated, well, I can't do that. I can't be the cause of a man's death. Now, looking at that, he would not be the cause of this man's death. The Guy de Lucion would have been tried and he would have been tried and judged and executed on it by his own his own merits. But Balian looked at it is that if I take this position, that they're going to kill this guy because of me. That's not true. But so he refused the position, and so the queen, her name was Sibylla, she came to him and said, who are you to refuse a king? He's asking you to do something. And she went on to tell him that she said, it's going to come a day. And I want you to listen to what I'm about to listen to, what she told him. And I'm going to say this to each and every one of you, whoever's listening, who's ever watching. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you from experience. I'm going to tell you from experience. And she went on to tell him that there's going to come a time where you wished you did a little evil for a greater good. And what she was telling him, because Guy was such a terrible individual and committing crimes, he needed to be removed. And sometimes people, we have to make decisions that are not popular, that are not popular. We have to start looking at certain things in a different perspective. It's called the greater good. The greater good. And that in itself is the persona of the Dark Knight. Yes, he is a vigilante, but the good that he is doing supersedes other things. Okay. Now, let's get into the water cooler topic of the day. All right. All right. Let's cut right to it. Okay. Two things. Okay. Everybody knows if you didn't happen to see the Academy Awards last night, let me tell you, you missed a treat. You missed an entire absolute treat. What did I say? I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. What isn't that's the same, right? The Academy Awards or the Oscars. It's the same thing. Yes. The Oscar, it's called the Academy, but they just call it the Oscars for short. Yeah, it's just called that. But let's get into if we got a look, if we have if we have a picture, if we could probably get that up of Will Smith slapping, slapping. If we can, we don't, we don't. But last night, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Okay, slapped the shit out of him. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I have no problem with that. Absolutely none. And I'm going to tell you why I had no problem with that. There are certain things that are off limits when it comes to first of all, in this business, there are certain things that are off limits, not taboo, just off limits. And even in our own community, the Black community, there are certain things that are off limits. Okay, you do not put um what Chris Rock did. He made a comment. He was making a joke, and he was making reference to Jada Pinkett, with her, by her being bald. Now here's the backstory on Jada Pinkett. The backstory is that she's preparing for a movie role for G.I. Jane 2. Okay. And if anybody remember the first movie, G.I. Jane, is where Demi Moore had to shave off all her hair and blah blah blah. So with Jada, she shaved her hair, she shaved her head, but uh, Jada also suffers from a condition called alopecia. She suffers from that, and she has spoken on that topic on her own show. Now, let's be clear: any type of affliction, whether it's vitiligo, alopecia, cancer, things of that nature that are serious, those are topics that are off limits. And more importantly, they're off limits when you are referencing someone's wife. You all are in the same business. I get that. You all in the same business. Fine. Okay. 2 points. But when he made the comment, and he's looking, and when he made the comment towards Jada, and when the camera turned to her, she kind of laughed, but then you could see in her face that she was very uncomfortable. He made her uncomfortable. Not only the fact that there's hundreds of people in the auditorium, but you have millions that are watching, and you're hearing what he's saying, and you're seeing her being very uncomfortable. And at that point, Will will act naturally, as a husband. Okay, this is the thing we have to also take into consideration. As a husband, he took offense, and he went on to say, or then the camera happened to catch him, and he went on to say, keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. And at that particular point, Will was heated. You could see he was heated. Will got up, walked up onto the stage, and slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. Turned around and went back to his seat. Now, with in the light of everything, well, people wasn't sure if that was part of the show, or was this really something unscripted? And as we later found out, this was unscripted, and he was upset. Jada was upset. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you. Now, like I said, I don't care what anybody say. I had no problem with that, and I look at it that because this was a man who was defending his wife. Someone insulted her, and he did what he felt he needed to do. He did that. Now, the backstory, he could have handled it another way. He could have waited till intermission, or he could have waited till after the show and pulled this nigga to his coattail, and they could have had a conversation privately, maybe a serious conversation somewhere in a coat room where they could really get their dukes on and go from there. But the point is this, is that there are some things and there are some men who take offense to you speaking their wife's name, or they say having a wife's name in their mouth. Okay. And Will went on to say a couple of things earlier. The bottom line, and he explained it to a certain degree on why he responded the way he did, because our Black women are constantly being attacked, are constantly being beaten up and beaten down. And it is our duty as Black men to protect them. It is our duty. And that's what he was, and that's how he felt, because he made the apology. He made an impromptu apology when he was referencing the film that he won the Academy Award for, King Richard, and he made it clear that when he, hey, my job is to protect these people. My job was, while I was on set, to make sure that nothing happened to these two girls who were portraying Venus and Serena Williams. I can't fault him for that. And make no mistake, I mean, this is a nigga from Philly. You might, this has been the same way if he was from Chicago. Somebody said that. I mean, even myself, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm gonna take offense to somebody if that was my wife, if that was my wife or my girlfriend, and some mofo says something crazy or crass out of his mouth, and you thought it was hilarious. Yeah, we're gonna have all kind of business to talk about. That's just me. Now, some other individuals, they wouldn't look at it that way and take it this way. But I've seen instances where women where the man has been there and the woman has been verbally attacked, and the man just stands there and says absolutely nothing. I'm gonna be, and truth be told, I got newfound respect for Will. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Let me take that back. No, I'm not sorry. I'm being truthful. I got newfound respect for that dude. Point blank, period. Now, some of you might disagree with that, or you may say, well, you're advocating violence. You know what? Get your head out your ass. Wake up. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. The world is cruel, it's cold, it's violent. It's on how you deal with it is what makes the difference. If you're walking around here with thinking that the world is full of the world is lollipops and rainbows, you are living a fantasy. If that's the kind of world you want, buy your ticket to Disney World, because it's always admission to that world. We're living in the reality of things. The reality of it. Will Smith made a decision. Was it right? No. But he made a decision in the heat of the moment because he took offense. And the fact that he made light of Jada's condition. No. It's like going to a comedy show. Are you going to make fun of a burn victim that's happened, even though this burn victim is sitting right on the front row? Are you going to make fun of him? No, unless he asks you to and he's cool with it. That's a different story. or some Billy Bob person, or some fat bastard is sitting there. These are things that sometimes that come with the territory, but then we can't. But then at the same time, these are comedians. You have to understand that this is how they make their living. They are unfiltered. They are uncensored. But there is a firewall that you sometimes, hey, the part that what happened last night, Chris Rock crossed the line. Chris Rock crossed the line. Then a report came out this morning, this morning, and I'm sure this happened after the show. But the LAPD was referred. The incident was referred to the LAPD, and apparently Chris Rock, the LAPD, and Will Smith all had a little powwow meeting. Chris Rock declined to file charges, which was expected. Okay. And at the same time, Chris Rock is married himself. Now we have to kind of turn the table on that for a moment and say, okay, now Chris, if your wife was in a wheelchair with one leg, 3 arms, half an eyeball, no teeth in her head, and going bald, how would you feel if Will Smith drew a cartoon, drew a character, a cartoon of her, and said, this is the picture that I took of her? There's a point to where you have to censor yourself. And at the same time, show a little bit of compassion. If she had made a movie that completely bombed, I could understand that. I would not have condoned Will Smith going up there and slapping. I would not have condoned that. Hey man, just get admit, your wife made she made a movie that completely stunk up the joint like a Mexican taking the shit in the bathroom, just blowing it up after 40 tacos. That's exactly what we have to look at this. But the fact of the matter is that he crossed the line. If that was me, because one, I know me. Somebody says anything in reference to my girl, anything that I deem offensive or disrespectful, and that was the biggest thing that Will Smith took. He took that as a form of disrespect. You disrespected this man's wife. Not only disrespected her, but you disrespected her in front of her husband. That's what you did. I'm gonna jump down somebody's throat and tap dance on their tonsils if they should ever disrespect, if that's me, my girl. I'm whooping your ass. I'll tell you out, and you know what? And I'll take my chances on whatever comes after that. But somebody's taking an ass whooping, and it ain't gonna be me. I'll tell you that right now. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Just let you all know, if you want to chime in on this, the phone lines are open. So give me a call here at studio 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. We're talking about the slap heard round the world. So that being said, Hey, who do I have on the phone and where you calling from? And caller, turn down your radio or TV. Hello?
This is Rita from Harvey.
All right, go ahead. Okay, we got Harvey. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about the slap that moved the country around the world last night.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a problem for me. I'm just voicing my opinion. Now, as if we don't have enough craziness going on in the world right now with natural disasters, civil war, pandemic, all this other stuff. So here we are on national TV, slapping folks on TV, just showing another black angry black man in the room. But we seem to forget Miss Jada, and I'm not condoning Mr. Chris Rock and his disrespect for Mr. Smith and Jada's his wife. I get that. I gather that. I would be upset too. And I saw the anger and upset in her face when this took place. So my thing is, now they're threatening to take his Academy Award away from him because of the zero tolerance for this kind of thing on live TV.
Mm-hmm.
So now we seem to also forget that Jada Smith has a Red Table Talk show on Facebook every week. Now, mind you, she put all her business out on the street. She was in love with a young guy while married to Mr. Smith. Also, her continued love and affection for Mr. Bad Boy Tupac Shakur that has, God forbid, sadly, has passed on. So I've heard and on social media that everybody was saying that he did that basically, of course, to honor his wife because he was upset because Chris Rock disrespected her. But not any time, because I've seen her show several times on Red Table Talk and all the business she put out on the street about her marriage, her family, everything. Never once she ever said she had alopecia or whatever disorder that she had for her to cut her hair. Let's start right there. She put all that other business out, but we not knew anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
But all this other business was out in the street about her loving this young guy while she was still with Will. All that was put out. Now you got this man smacking folk on live TV, threatening to take his Oscar away from him.
But hold your point. But wait.
I just wanted to say that.
No. Hold on. Just hold. Wait. Hold your point.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, as I indicated earlier, you reap one. First of all, people, you reap what you sow, and there are
exactly.
Here's the thing, and also you reap what you sow. Number two, there are consequences for our actions. There are
Very
consequences
true.
for this. This is the thing. And this was something that we had said earlier. We had said before, just before we went on the air. There's consequences. This is the thing that happens. He responded in the heat of the moment, and to piggyback off of something else that was said,
mm-hmm.
These are things. There are a bunch of people right now sitting in prison and in the grave because of an impulse.
Exactly.
I'm not now. Do I now? When I said I had no problem with that, he had the level of he felt that this was a level of disrespect, but also too, there are consequences. I'm not alleviating the part where there are consequences because I didn't want to speak on the part about them taking the Oscar away until a little bit more. I got a little bit more information, but I kind of foresaw that being possible. Now it's gonna be hard as hell for them to rescind that because be hard to do that because this is something that he has earned. Now, if there's a clause to where, hey, you sign off on this to where there's a zero tolerance for whatever it is, then that's still up for discussion. But the other thing too is that how many people have done worse than what Will Smith did and got Oscars, and nobody has batted an eye or lifted a finger and said, oh, well, we're going to take this away. We're going to take that away. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
True that. But the thing is that he did this on live television in front of everybody. I get that people, all kinds of actors have done horrible things. And I think this is the only industry, music / radio, or can let you get away with these types of crimes.
Yes.
You can turn to this career and still have a successful one and still be in that kind of trouble.
Well,
Meaning a felon or whatever.
Right.
Not
That's
condoning what they did. That's not what I mean. That's not what I'm saying. But the thing of it is that aren't we stereotyped enough as Black people?
of course.
And how they look at us. And then and Will has always, even in his music, not the movie part, but even in his music, he didn't even curse in his music. And he was considered, in his eyes, I'm thinking, after the Red Table Talk conversations I've heard about his family life and Jada, Jada and was crying, not Jada, but Will was on the Red Table Talk when he came out that she was dating some guy named August, younger guy, whatever, and this was happening while they was married. So I'm like, okay, well, what's this all about? And people on social media were saying, well, I think he did that because he was trying to portray the bad boy that Jada likes, like Tupac. So he's fronting and gonna smack Chris Rock for disrespecting her. So now I guess she gonna jump his bones last night or whatever. You just smacked me at Tupac, ooh, whatever. You know, I'm like, okay, what was that all about? Well, and you accept an Academy Award, and it just looked like, how are you gonna do this and then say what you said?
Well,
on top of that, Denzel told him, right when you at the top of your game, the devil stepped in. Okay, what was that all about?
No.
So
now,
are you even listening?
No.
You are even listening to what just happened to you in the last 20 minutes?
Well, see, it's a matter. So see, Denzel told him that after he won. He didn't tell him before. He told him.
That.
Wait.
I know, but
I'm right. But what I'm giving is giving more. I'm giving a little bit more context to what happened. What Denzel told him when this was after this happened. He walked up and they're like, oh wow. And Denzel pulled him to the side and say, when you're at the top, that's when the devil comes for you. In essence, always. Now, in essence, what Denzel was saying to him, heavy is the head that lays the crown. There are certain things that now you are that are expected of you, and you have to conduct yourself in a manner to where it is now become acceptable. What you did is unacceptable. We get what your anger was, but it's still unacceptable. Heavy is the head that lays the crown.
Point taken. But mind you, this ain't Will's first rodeo. This is not Will's first rodeo. Will ain't just come in the game. Will have been nominated before. I think when he did Ali or whatever. Will ain't brand new to this.
But it's a different
the industry, the music industry / movie industry / music industry. He's not new to this.
No.
Why are we giving him a pass on this kind of behavior? There was a lady on CNN. They had a couple of people on there, and the lady said, I got 3 words for you. You know, we got other things going on in the world, and this is the top thing that's going on in social media now.
Yep.
You know, and this is what this thing we have with our young people. They are more concerned with the stars than their own homes. They all fixated on these people out here that get more money than they do, but yet they still got the same problems that they face. Money never solves any problems. All of that just a facade. You broke as all get out, but you worried about this Megan Thee Stallion and Renee Rihanna over here, butt half naked and pregnant, and then this somebody over here cheating on him and cheating. I'm like, okay, but your kids running around here acting a plump dumb fool. Mind your own business. Take care of your house. Why are you worried about all this social media and who did what and who shot John? And you ain't got 2 nickels to rub together to pay your own bills while you over there worried about a millionaire. So this is the kind of thing that's going on now. Everybody's business, mind your own business in your home, but you're putting all your business out in the street. Stars do that too. The gospel columnists. We've been doing this for decades. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. When does it end? When do we, as black people, as people, period, mind their own business, take care of their own homes, and take care of your wife, mind what's going on in your fields, and take care what you got going on? This is probably what I'm thinking what Denzel was trying to let him know. Because, once again, this is not Will's first rodeo.
No. Wait. Let me interrupt you. Now,
I know, I got that. Let me just say this one point. Then I'll let you take over. I apologize. Will should have known better. He should know better. And for him to portray King Richard, which is the Venus girl's father.
Yeah, that's a bad light.
The moving movie he had about them girls, and for him to act like that, not previously before you accepted this award, knowing these are the people. This wasn't no fictitious character he was playing. These were real people. And for you to do what you did, granted, he disrespected your wife. I got that. But like I said, and what you said, you could have took him down or whatever in the parking lot or whatever, and then regain her honor or whatever. But you did this on live TV, Will. Come on, you acting like one of these thugs, excuse my French, nigga, rappers, that, stuff like that.
I'd have took that
to him.
I'd have took
public. You didn't.
I'd have took that nigga. I'd have took that nigga. We'd have went down. We wouldn't have got to the parking lot. We'd have went in the coat room. It'd have been two people win, two men in it, one man leave. Now,
but you on live TV.
Oh no,
though.
I agree. Now understand. Now, I never said I condoned it. I never said I condoned it. I said I had no problem with him defending her. There's no problem with defending her. But the way he exploded, and then he did this in front, and then there's the fallout is so massive now. Massive. It's massive.
This is bite Will in the butt in the end.
This will hurt him. This will hurt him for a good minute. This will hurt him for a good minute. And apparently they had a little powwow, because apparently the Academy had referred this to the LAPD.
Exactly.
They showed up. There was a conversation. Chris Rock said, "No, I'm not pressing charges. This is between us." Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Now the Academy's talking about, well, we're considering it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard as hell. It's going to be tougher to get that Academy out of there, getting a fat man out of a pair of small shoes. That's what's going to happen.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate y'all letting me be on here this long. Now, aren't we as a society how the people treat Black people in this day and age, whether we have money or not? The society has allowed, not our God-given right, to earn money like other races or whatever. Now we have shown in their eyes that all we are in the N-word with money. But we still the N-word.
Well, we still niggas regardless. Ain't that
my thing is how we portray ourselves when we get to a certain stature. When we get to a certain stature or some kind of common sense, we shouldn't act like that. Or period, whether you common folk or anybody, in my opinion, but some people use their stature as to act a certain way. I don't understand that. That's whatever. But my thing is, when you get to a certain stature, when you're supposed to show others, the people who are looking at you, the young folk who idolize you, who, I like this person, I like that, I'm looking up to you. When you act like that, these young folks are looking at you and they're applauding this kind of behavior. This is why a lot of people, we get majority of minorities in prison because of the impulsive acts that we do to one another. And we just have no control over our feelings or whatever. None. And then we wonder why the jails are filled up. Because as I've heard, 90% or 80% or whatever percentage it is, have anger issues, have mental issues, are locked up because of the lack of what's going on, the resources in our community, the stigma of Black people in mental illness and Black men with mental illness. We have that stigmatism along with a conglomerate of other things that we can go on and on to the doomsday of time on what's going on in the community, period. So we can't be in the position to where we have a certain stature in life and set a better example to our young people. They want to complain, well, because we ain't got this or because we ain't got this resources. What about having common sense? I don't know how many people, Jimmy Butler, let's put him on the platform just by a millisecond and I'm gone. This boy, his mother kicked him out at 13, 14. A Caucasian couple took him in. That boy is one of the top basketball players in the country. Did he let his woes and what happened to him take him down? No, but you get a majority of young men or young females that's out here breaking in stores, smashing and grabbing so they can front with a purse that they know they can't afford. But yet, we still condone or not overlook it. We still applaud these things or use excuses to continue this behavior. When will that end?
Well, it's going to take some time. There's a story out of Louisiana where there were 4 individuals, and a lot of this comes from parenting too. A lot of this is parenting.
True.
There was an incident in Louisiana, people, where there were four, I kid you not, I cannot make this up, 4 teenagers. 2 of them were 15, one 16, another 17. Carjacked a 73-year-old woman leaving her job. They had been casing the place, Kate walking back and forth, up and down the street. When the woman got in the car, the 17-year-old male maced her in the face, grabbed her, pulled her out of the car, punched her in the face, and was giving her the foot business while she laid on the ground, stomping on her face, jumped in the car, drove off with her still tangled up in the seatbelt, subsequently severing her. They drug her a full block, severing her arm where she later succumbed to her injuries.
Wow.
Now, all of this, the thing about this, all of this was caught on camera. The parents of the 4 individuals turned every last one of these motherfathers in. The parents stepped up because the parents recognized who their children were, and 3 of the parents turned their children in. 1 girl turned herself in, but the fact that the parents, and see, this is the part to where accountability comes in. And see, I'm a proponent to where if these kids are committing these crimes, and I don't want to get too far off topic. Some part of the legislation has to be saying we have to put something on the books to where, listen, if these juveniles are committing adult crimes, then we're going to charge their parents' ass with this crime also. We're going to call this the accountability law. That's me. I'm not understanding where somebody's not trying to figure this out and say this is what we need to do. Carjacking and but going back to the Smith situation, you have a good point, because a lot of young people look up to him. A lot of young people looking at this, and so on and so forth. So Will gave a public apology, this, that, and the other. But what is going to be the fallout? What is the fallout is happening. It's happening. This is a plane that has that engine 1 and engine 2 has just rolled back. And they're asking, and the air traffic controller is, hey, can you make it to Teterboro? They say, and the pilot say, we're going to be in the Hudson. Sir, we're trying to reach the plane. We're going to be in the Hudson. Bottom line, we got to deal with this right now. Will Smith has to deal with this right now. This is a flaming pile of a flaming pile of shit that is going down with Will, Jada, and the kids on the plane.
Right,
this is what this is what's happening.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
I agree. But are we had enough with wars, pandemics, and not only were we dealing with this pandemic that we had to deal with the last 2 years, everybody's on boiling point with everything now. And then we got tornadoes, we got hurricanes, we got typhoons, we got all the massive torments and death on a daily basis. And not only we got to deal with crime on how we hate and the way we treat one another. In our own community, how we rape, kill, steal with our own people. Please stop what's going on right now and all this busybody craziness. Look at your own brothers next to you, your neighbors. Love your neighbors. I'm gone. Have a good night. Stay safe, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Rita has left the room.
Got a point. But we have to look at, and not to, and not to take away anything, but, I agree. But we have to look at both sides. We have to look at both sides of the ledger. We have to look at both sides. Certain things exist so another one can prosper. And I've said this before. The unfortunate part of what we're dealing with that, you cannot have light without day. You cannot have good without evil, because they balance each other. They have to balance each other. The point being is that if you have too much sun, it's not healthy for you. Too much darkness is not healthy for you. You have to have, there's the balance. And the unfortunate part is when she referenced about the communities, is that a lot of this comes from not only with ourselves, but also as parents. We as parents, and Jada and Will are parents. And this is, I'm sure, a conversation that is right now, but in that household that is ongoing. And it's going to be ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. This is where it's at right now. This is where it's at. And this is a conversation that's going to be continued. But as I said last week on the show, here's the thing too. If we're going to talk about our community and our children, first and foremost, we have to clean up. As individuals, we have to clean up our own backyard. We have to clean up our own backyard. Meaning we have to take care of our own home first. If you know your goddamn kids are completely out of whack, out of sort, that's your priority. Not that's your priority. Not any fucking thing else. That's your priority of getting that in together, getting your house in order. Hey, who do I have on the phone and where are you calling from?
This is Jay from Georgia.
All right, Georgia, let's rock.
Well, I think the major theme tonight is getting your house in order and setting a level of order is the key word. I think the problem with us is, and many don't want to acknowledge this, is the Black family is one of the most dysfunctional organisms in social history at this point. And I call it an organism because an organism is something that has many parts of a living thing that work as a system together. However, we are a diseased organism because we have lost, to an extent, the genetic code, the genetic balance of understanding each system's role within the organism. So that's a little complex, so I'm going to make it even more simpler for the soft melons. Your body is an organism. The human body is an organism. This organism has several subsystems that help to keep this organism as a whole alive, functioning, and producing. So you have a circulatory system, which handles the blood. You have a nervous system, which handles nerves, feelings, extensions, and so on and so forth. You have a skeletal system, which supports the muscles. You have a muscular system. So these are all systems that function and that work together to support and to ensure that this organism is maintained and is alive. So we as a family, as a culture, we're dysfunctional. This is a diseased organism. So it's almost like someone who has an autoimmune disease, because one system is attacking another system within the same organism. That might be a little difficult for some of y'all to understand, so I'm gonna put it a different way. The mama and the daddy can't agree on nothing.
Right.
So since the mama and the daddy can't agree on nothing, the children are sitting in the back row, popping popcorn, playing one against the other. And so we have an organism that is completely diseased and dysfunctional, and everything that it is supposed to produce actually retards. That's why it's difficult for us to produce men. We got a lot of dick and we got a lot of males, but there's no men. We have women or females, but we don't have women. We don't have the structure and the proper code of conduct on how these families and how these people are supposed to function together. If you don't believe or you don't want to accept this reality, look at every social construct of a family in other cultures. The Asian culture, there is a mom, a dad, the children, the extended family, and they all work together as an organism, a bigger organism or a community, to bring forth something that family will hold as legacy. Hispanic families would do the same thing, if not to a larger scale, because you have several Hispanic families that will immigrate from some other country. I'm not going to say just Mexico, because that's short-lived like we always do, but they'll immigrate from some other country. We'll get one house, and these 3 to 4 families will work a system together until each one of those families, by covenant, will have and produce their own house and base of finances or financial independence. The Italians get together, do what they need to do, come up with a plan. I don't give a damn if it's selling pizzas and cannolis. They're going to figure it out. The Irish, same thing. My point is, we are the only segment of people that spend so much time trying to be right and to prove some sort of point in our own house that we don't even see that the rest of the world is literally excluding us or pushing us into an oasis of extinction. We are the most educated people of any generation. We have, like we so often like to say, we have more spending power than any other nation on the globe. But we have the highest crime rate, the highest divorce rate. This is not my opinion. This is absolute fact.
This is fact.
The lowest rate of ownership and business equity. Come on. We got to see this for what this really is. And the reason why that is because the organism is diseased. If you can't accept that, you are the disease. That's my 2 minutes.
All right, thank you. Very good points tonight. Very good points. And that and to piggyback off of that, the he also, one thing that we also left out, we have a high mortality rate, among our infant children. That's the other thing that goes by the wayside. I say this all the time. We're not, the bottom line is this. I accept certain things. I accept certain realities, certain things. I'm a reasonable person. It's just that some things that are some things that are just unreasonable. Unreasonable. Bottom line, listen here, folks. Listen, I mean, and like I said, this is from experience. None of our homes are perfect. They're never going to be. They're not going to be. They're not going to be. Not now. Not at this particular point right now. But what we can do is do the best that we can with what we got. We have to look at the reality of things, the reality of what is actually happening. And and this part about, like I say, my concern is, bottom line, get your house in order. I don't give a good goddamn about what's going on across the pond. Russia, Ukraine, China, North Korea, South Korea. I don't give a shit about that. Because why? Because if it's not putting food on my table, if it's not putting clothes on my back, if it is not educating my children, if there is no financial viability for me and mine, why am I concerned about that? What I am concerned about is the economic development in my community. That's what I'm concerned about. Because why? The economic development in my community produces jobs and revenue. This is what this is all about. That's what we should be concerning ourselves about, because we as Black people, once again, we spend all our time chasing the wrong goddamn dog, concerning ourselves with all of the things that have nothing to do with us. Nothing. Most of you have children that are just completely out of control. Buck wow. Some of you probably right now don't even know where your damn children are at this particular point, coming up to the top of the hour at right now. This is school night. And if they're not at home, right now, if they're not in your house at this very moment, I'm gonna call you out. You are a bad parent, because either you don't give a damn or you don't care. Now it could be a combination of both. Or as long as they're not bothering you, you're okay with that. And that's one of the other problems. Or the other thing, or you're spending too much time looking for something, indulging in something, instead of paying attention to what is going on in your house. Get your house together. Get your house together. And just to kind of and to piggyback off of a little spirituality thing here. First and foremost, you can't get your damn house if you don't understand yourself, if you don't understand your spirituality, there's no way you can get your house in order. No way. You cannot put the cart before the horse. If you all of a sudden jumped on this boogie train of spirituality, now you want to be a parent, or now you want to be a father, or now you want to be an upstanding citizen, and you got these kids, it's too late now. That train, that ship has long sailed. That is something that you should have been doing when you were able to reach them at 7, at 9, at 12, at 13. When you haven't been an active parent in there, and when you haven't been an active parent, a concerned parent, when you haven't been that, this is it's like planting seeds. You're going to reap what you sow. Or as it says scripturally, there's nowhere in the world that you can plant bad seed and expect a good harvest. There's no way in the world that's going to happen. No way in the world. An apple tree is not going to bring forth oranges. It's never happened. It's never happened in the history of man. Not ever. See, people can say what, you can say what you want. You can say what you want about this person, about that person. Okay. This, that, and the other. As far as my spirituality, I know what I know, and I know what I know. I know what I believe. And not only that, but I know what I've seen. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing, because make no mistake about it. Makes that those of you that are sitting out there and sitting sitting and call yourself sitting in judgment of another, I would advise you to be very, very careful when you do that, because the same measure of judgment that you are dishing out on someone else, it is going to be returned upon you. You're going to be judged by those same measures. Get your house in order. And another part too, in getting your house in order, make sure that your teachings. Here's the other thing. First of all, if we're going to talk about getting our house in order, we got to make sure that our teachings are correct. Not some blind jackass fool that's claiming that he's this and he's that, or she's this or she's that. No. Scripture that says, study to show thyself approved. Everything scripturally in the Bible, I believe front to back. There's no diversion. There's no alternative. There's no diversion. There's no alternate book. There is no side there. There's no sideline. There is no backs, anything of this nature. It clearly states one thing to the other. Now, I don't know how many of you believe in heaven and hell, but I'm gonna tell you something. Heaven is real, and you better believe hell is real too. You better believe it, because I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, those who you don't believe that, on that great getting up day, and you realize, holy shit, hell is for real. Yes, it is. Make no mistake about it. That's why I say, get your house in order. Get your house in order. But in doing so, you have to make sure that your teachings are correct, because it's a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, some people are talking about, oh, we're in the time of great tribulation. No, let me tell you something, people. We haven't even got there yet. There are things that have, excuse me, there are things that have to happen. There are other things that must take place, not happen, but must take place. Then you will know you're in tribulation. No. Then you will know. Get your house in order. That means, first of all, start with yourself. If you have small age children, get their ass in line, and understand something. If you are not applying some level of discipline, such as something to their backside, you have failed already. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not saying that my children are perfect or angels or anything of that nature, but I will tell you this: they know me. They know what I they know what I won't tolerate. They know what I put up with and what I won't. They know that, and my children are grown, but they knew coming up. They knew that they decide they're gonna challenge me and do the clown. Oh, it's gonna be, it was gonna be lightning from the sky. They knew that, which explains why they conduct themselves in the manner that they conduct themselves in the manner that they do. They're on point. On point. These are the things that we have to fully understand and doing this and getting this together. But as I said, people, you got to get your house. You got to get your house in order. Fellas, if you think because if you think, and I'm gonna say this, and I want y'all to think about this. I'm gonna say this. I think I got about 45 seconds. But, fellas, if you think because you stop stop going to the titty bar or drinking because you say I need to get right with God, that's not doing it. Ladies, if you're talking about, well, I'm gonna lock the coochie down, or I'm gonna stop doing this, I can't keep living in sin. That's not the way. That's not getting your house in order. That's just doing something because because you're looking for redemption and you're living in fear. Get your house in order. And first of all, getting your house in order means that your teachings scripturally has to be correct. And with that being said, I see the lights right now. I see the lights flashing in the distance, and the helicopter is landing, which means that that's all the time that we have here tonight on Black Conservative Radio. Hey, you know what? Excuse me. I appreciate the callers that called in tonight. Appreciate y'all. A shout out to my man Alex, Captain Hooks. My shout out to my sponsor Captain Hooks over there on 85th and Cottage Grove, 103rd and King Drive, and 15922 South Kedzie in Markham, Illinois. And as I said, always, not my monkey, not my circus.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
To the Batmobile.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.